when the president calls a speech at night and says he wants to address the nation, the networks are asked to carry it. Sometimes they don't. They don't have to. But if he said, look, I only need 20 minutes, I'm sure everybody at, NBC and everybody, I mean, I did, rolled my eyes like, oh, yeah, it'll be 20 minutes. It'll be an hour and 20 minutes. But it was tight and focused and 20 minutes. I wonder if the war thing wasn't a way to get them to cover this. If it wasn't a leak from the White House, I think he might announce war tonight, and then everybody was going to cover it. I don't know. Maybe that's me being too cynical. Can you be too cynical at this point? Here's the thing. He said a couple of things that I didn't think will serve him well, and it's only because, and I think you feel the same way. I know I'm sick of it. And I've been reporting on it since the beginning of Obama. And I hated it when Obama was doing it. And he did it for 8 years. Biden did it for 4 years. And here's the line. I inherited a mess. I inherited trouble. I'm cleaning up somebody else's mess. True. It's absolutely true. It wasn't with Biden. It kind of was with Obama at the beginning, but when you're 7 years into it, you haven't cleaned that up yet. I mean, you got to get a bigger mop. But it's definitely true under Donald Trump. However, people have heard that now from the last 3 presidents, and they're tired of it. It has no meaning anymore, even though it's true. And I want to go back to truth here in a second. The other thing that I don't think will serve him well is the economy is doing better than ever. You're going to love it. It's great. People are not. That might be true. In my opinion, it's not. It is doing much, much better. I mean, you had, what was it, 25%, 30% inflation add to everything. You got to go into negative inflation to be able to get those prices down. They're going to be up there. And what's happening is we still are adding 2% inflation, and that's the target. I don't know why we put up with that target, but that's the target. So you'll have 2% price increases every year. Now we're at 3%. We get the numbers out today. It might go into the 2s. Are they out yet?
Yeah, 2.7 was the number today, which is
2.7.
Yeah, it's better than great. It's going the right direction. They did say part of that might be because of the government shutdown, so we're not sure how long that lasts, but positive movement anyway.
Yeah, so that's fantastic. So coming down to 2.7. Remember, we were at 9. And it was compounding year after year after year. So he is bringing things down. And the price of some things like gasoline and eggs and some of the stuff you get at the grocery are way down. They're not back to where they were in 2016 or 2020 because, he's just trying to stop the inflation. So what's happening, and this is what I say will serve him well, is there was this great marketing book out in the 80s called Positioning the Battlefields of Your Mind or Battlegrounds of Your Mind. And it was a book that led to the Cola Wars. It was the understanding of the Cola Wars and how Pepsi could beat Coca-Cola. They had to change the perception. And the perception was that Coca-Cola was it. And Pepsi had to change it, and that's why they became the choice of a new generation. And for a while, Pepsi it may have even beaten Coke, but there was this real cola war back and forth the whole time. They didn't change the flavors. They didn't change anything. Pepsi was what Pepsi had always been. Coca-Cola was what Coca-Cola had always been. They needed to change the perception, okay? Because perception, whether it's true or not, perception is reality. Whatever people perceive and feel is their reality. So it's the reality that you have to deal with. people don't feel the relief yet. They see the prices coming down, but they're still paying out the same amount of money that they were paying out under Joe Biden. It's not getting worse, except by 2.7% overall, but it's not getting better to them. Certain categories are, but overall, you're still struggling with your rent and everything else. And so people's perception is it's not what I expected, because what I expected was 2019. I expected to have jobs and the economy rolling and the price of housing coming down and everything else. And it's not. So what's not going to serve him well is saying your perception is wrong. He might be right. Doesn't matter. You can't tell people their perception is wrong. You have to change that perception. And the only way to really change it is to demonstrate it, or through ads. Back in the Cola War era, they just change slogans and do ads and everything else. But people don't buy slogans anymore. They don't buy ads anymore. They don't even trust logos anymore. So that won't work. You actually have to change people's lives to change their perception. Now, 25% last month said that they felt that their personal finances were doing better. That was last month, or the month before last. This last month, it's up to 27%. So he's moving that in the right direction. But to win, you've got to be over 40%. Easy over 40%. Have to feel like their personal finances are getting better. 27% is not enough, but it is moving in the right direction. So when the president says he's got to relate to the people who have defended him, liked him, and believe in him, he's got to say, I know you're feeling the pinch. One of the things he said last night, but I don't think it's connected yet to people, and it's because it's absolutely true. Why do you think that you are spending more every month for your rent? Why? You're spending more on rent because there's too many people chasing too few houses and apartments. You cannot add 10 to 15 million people in 4 years while you're not building things. You can't add 10 million people into your country and say, oh, by the way, go get housing. Where are they going to get the housing? The housing, you're going to have a shortage, which will cause the prices to go up. So until you get rid of those 10 million people, you're not going to lower the price. And especially if the government is subsidizing them. Because, look at the NGOs. If people know the government's going to pay it, they'll keep the price up. Look what happened with NGOs. Look at what's happening at universities. Why do you think universities are so expensive? They weren't like that until the government said, we'll guarantee the loans. Once the government said, we'll guarantee the loans, prices went through the roof because everybody could get a loan. That's the problem. He's got to connect this, and I think he started last night, and he's done it a few times, but somewhere or another, it's really got to connect with the American people. You cannot solve the housing prices and not solve the immigration crisis. You have to send people back home, or you're going to have to wait 5 years as we build new apartment complexes and new buildings, and we stabilize under these 10 million new homes that were needed. That's not popular, and nobody's going to wait that long. Somehow or another, he's got to make that point, and it's got to connect with people to give him more time to turn things around on the housing. Now, he also was really strong in saying that he was appointing, wait until you meet the guy I'm going to appoint the head of the Fed. Well, I'd like to meet that person too. I'd like to know who that is. He says he's going to do it right after the first of the year because our Fed chair is leaving after the first of the year, I think in February. And he said he's a guy who understands low interest rates and low mortgage rates, looser money. That could be really dangerous with inflation, but We'll see. But that could be a turning point, one way or the other. A new Fed chair will be a turning point. And hopefully Trump and this new Fed chair know what they're doing, and it won't make things worse. But I don't know how you can at the Fed. I don't know. I mean, they've already made everything so bad. Thank you for thinking for yourself and being part of a movement, because that's really what all of this is. If you want the full story, you want to go deeper, go to blazetv.com/Glenn. Go there right now, sign up, no interruptions, just the truth, uncensored and unfiltered. Don't just watch, take a stand. And I'll see you over there in a minute.